Hello and welcome to a special edition of Moxie Talk with Kirt Jacobs, where we sit one-on-one with those individuals seeking the office of Louisville Metro Mayor. In addition, all candidates seeking this office were notified and offered the opportunity to appear on our program. Now, our sole purpose today is to allow the candidates a chance to offer the audience some keen insights into how they see themselves and their potential mayoral administration, and most importantly, just what makes them tick. I'm Kirt Jacobs, host and creator of Moxie Talk with Kirt Jacobs, and we are coming to you from the Louisville Metro TV studios in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Joining us today is Democratic mayoral candidate Mr. Craig Greenberg. He's currently founder of the Greenberg Group and a former president CEO of 21C Museum Hotels, as well as, and I love this, co-owner in the Ohio Valley Wrestling. And he is seeking to be Louisville Metro's next mayor. Mr. Greenberg, welcome to this special edition of Moxie Talk.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's get started. What drives you to aspire or be influenced into a life of public service?
I think my family. I, like so many others around this city and country, family is so critical to everything that we do and wanting what's better for our family. And what got me thinking about getting involved in public service was a concept that I learned very early on as a child in my faith, a concept that in Hebrew is tikkun olam, or translated into English as repair the world. And it's, to me, a powerful but simple concept that in ways large and small, personally and professionally, every day we should each try to make the world a better place than when we woke up in the morning. And as I was thinking about what was next for my family and me in our life, the concept of tikkun olam kept coming back to me. And after conversations with my wife and two boys, we decided to embark on this great adventure of running for mayor. So really it's that notion of repairing the world, because I think most people in Louisville will agree that right now our city is in great need of repair. It's in need of repair, it's in need of revitalization, it's in need of unification. And so those are all the things that have been important to me my entire life, and it's why I'm excited about the opportunity to be the next mayor of Louisville.
You know, you had mentioned about that thought coming back over and over about running for public office, but was there kind of what I like to call an aha moment? Was there something or an individual that maybe even sat you down, or was there just something like that that was like this pivotal, very consequential moment for you?
There was, I think it built up over time. There was no specific moment. It was, I think, years of, candidly, a little bit of frustration that I felt like while some good things were happening in Louisville, there were a lot of challenges, and they were only getting worse. Whether it's public safety, whether it's racial tensions, whether it's lack of investment in parts of the city that have been overlooked for our entire lifetime, whether it's the assault on women's rights, and the list goes on and on and on. And I felt like Louisville was becoming a little bit too complacent, candidly. And I have much higher aspirations for us as a city. And so I wanted to become a part of the solution. And so that's really what's motivating me to run for mayor.
Whom do you credit most influential in your life, Craig? And it could be more than one, personal or professional, or maybe in this case, political.
It certainly is my family. I mean, I have very fortunate to have a very tight-knit family. My wife Rachel and I have been married for 24 years. I've got two great boys that are 19 and 17 years old.
Maybe you should give some marital advice, but no.
I don't know about that. And so I just really, they have really inspired me and continue to influence me as we've been talking for years about issues of importance to our city, to our state, to our country, to our world, about outlooks on life, where the world is going. But really, I've met so many wonderful people across this whole city as I've been running for mayor.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than a lot of people realize until you actually run for public office. It's a
is,
very big city.
I've literally run it all. There are 623 precincts across Louisville. And before the primary election, I literally ran through all 623. I love to run, and it was a great way for me to get to know people across the entire city, to hear about the unique issues facing their neighborhoods, because we have so many different neighborhoods across the city, but then also finding those common themes that really are impacting all of us in Louisville, and also those common shared values that we have as Louisvillians.
Now, I've known you for a long time. You were actually our 12th guest way back in, I think, 2006. And at the time, that was, for those of a certain era in Louisville, that was the era of trying to get
I must have been in elementary school then.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. But yeah, long before the internet. But you were highly involved in the Museum Plaza project, and I've watched you evolve over the years, and now here you are running for mayor. So all that leads to this next question. What is it like to be Craig Greenberg?
Well, to me, it's pretty normal. It's the only normal that I know. So it's a lot of listening, a lot of learning. It's always something different. I mean, that's what I love about what I've done, both in my professional life, in the areas of civic involvement that I've had, and now running for mayor of Louisville. Is I like to be doing a lot of different things. I like to turn dreams into realities, make big things happen. And so that's what I've always strived to do, is when I see a problem, I will stand up for what I think is right. I will listen to a lot of people to get other people's input, and then try to work together with a team of people to move towards a common goal and achieve some big goals. Because in Louisville, I really do think we can make some big things happen if we all work together.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like that. Now, you had mentioned when we interviewed years ago about the dash in between on the tombstone, so I don't know if that applies to this next question. But what was the most defining moment of your life, Craig? Again, it could be more than one, personal or professional, or maybe political again.
Well, personally, it was definitely my marriage to Rachel. Is that we met on a blind date while I was away at law school and she was getting her master's degree. And Rachel is just an amazing person who lights up every room that she enters, has a million friends, and is the most caring, compassionate person who I know, who has made me a better person, a stronger person, a better listener, all of which are characteristics that I think are important for anyone who's in a leadership role. And so I definitely credit Rachel with a lot of my success. We have been an amazing team together, and so I would say she is definitely the most influential person.
What do you consider to be your biggest triumph, Craig? And again, it could be more than one, personal or professional.
Well, personally, having my two sons. I mean, that was having two happy, healthy sons that I feel like are excited about the life ahead of them, the world ahead of them, that, like Rachel and I and so many people in Louisville, share a desire to give back to others and to help others who might not have had the same opportunities that they've had in life. Professionally, I would say building 21C Museum Hotels. The two founders of 21C Museum Hotels, Steve Wilson and Laura Lee Brown, had this amazing idea. I was their lawyer at the time and had the opportunity at the very beginning to help start the company with them and really build it from their idea into a national, international company with over 1,200 employees. And we really did some great things. We built 9 projects which revitalized 9 urban neighborhoods across the entire country, and we did it together as a team of people. Everyone had a role in contributing to our success, and we created not just a great hotel and restaurant, but also a great cultural institution, and really places around the country where people could come together, where they could explore new ideas, they could learn about new things, think about things in new ways that they might not have thought about before. And so creating that company, creating those jobs and the opportunity for over 1,200 people is really something that I'm incredibly proud of. What
I noticed, or perception or impression from afar looking in as a fellow Louisvillian, I got the impression they gave you a lot of responsibility. I mean, I'm sure they had the final say, and you can share as much or as little as you want, but it seemed like it was like, Craig, you make this our vision reality, and that seemed like a lot of responsibility, or is my perception off?
Well, it wasn't just me. Yes, I was very fortunate that Steve and Laura Lee and others entrusted me with responsibility at a very young age. And I feel like I owe that to others to pay it forward. And that's one of the reasons why in our company at 21C, now in my campaign and hopefully in my mayoral administration, I look forward to assembling a team of individuals that have very different experiences than me, from a diverse range of background by every measure of diversity, and really giving opportunity also to younger people, because I believe they have such great ideas and can do so much. And I truly believe in empowering people, agreeing on what the goals are that we need to accomplish together, empowering them to achieve those goals with their own team, and then holding people accountable, just as I expect to be held accountable, whether it was as CEO of 21C Museum Hotels or whether it's hopefully as the next mayor of Louisville.
What do you consider to be your hardest life lesson, Craig? Again, it can be more than one, personal or professional.
Well, I would say the most challenging experience that I had was certainly the aftermath of the shooting that happened earlier this year with me, where on Valentine's Day morning earlier this year, a man walked into my campaign office where my team and I were meeting for a Monday morning meeting, and from 15 feet away, shot at me 6 times. And I am the most fortunate and blessed person, not just in Louisville, but in the world, to still be here today. And I might not know why or how I'm still here, but I do know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a stronger resolve than ever before to work with anyone in Louisville that wants to be a part of the public safety solution to end the senseless gun violence that is plaguing our city. And the lessons I learned from that are powerful, and I will never forget, and they will stay with my teammates and I and everyone who had that experience. Just as I know the impact of gun violence stays with anyone who is impacted by it for their entire lifetime, whether they were directly shot at by me, whether they've had a loved one or a friend who's been injured or murdered, or whether they just are in a neighborhood that is plagued by too much gun violence. The impact on hundreds of thousands of Louisvillians every day is unconscionable. And we have all have to work together with this as our number one priority to improve our public safety here in Louisville. And so some of the takeaways from that are better understanding the scope of impact on families, neighbors, neighborhoods by gun violence, learning to listen to others who have experienced it, and working together, because there are so many solutions out there, all of which have a slightly different approach, and we need to try them all. We need to go all in on public safety to make Louisville a safer city. And so I released a comprehensive public safety plan earlier this year that would do just that.
Now, the show's called Moxie Talk, and you've got a lot of moxie. Those that don't know what it means, it's basically courage. You know, I had friends ask me, because they know I've known you for a long time, they're like, I'm sure after that incident, he and his wife are going to talk and drop out of the race. I was like, you don't know Craig. I said, I would understand it, but I said, I don't think he will. So I'm going to ask you that question. Did it cross your mind to rethink your future vision, if you will?
You know, it was such an intense whirlwind of a day after the shooting happened, and I had so much adrenaline going through my body. My ears were still ringing. All I wanted to do all day when I was at the police station all day, sitting for interviews and helping with the investigation, all I wanted to do was to get home to my family that night. And I thought it was important. I believe in transparency for public officials and public institutions, and so I thought it was important that I meet with the media that day and explain what I knew and share some thoughts. But my mind was with my family, and so when I got home, it was just all about them and being together and hugging them and just really sharing our love with one another and reassuring my other family members who were not at my house and my immediate family that I was okay. And it wasn't until the next night, Tuesday night, when I was going to bed, just because everything had been so intense.
Sure.
When I realized, you know what, I need to ask Rachel, are you still supportive of me moving forward? And I was very fortunate that she, without hesitation, like me, also wanted to move forward, that she thought it was more important than ever that we work together and with people across the entire city to be a part of the solution to end gun violence in Louisville and make Louisville a safer city.
Now, this dovetails nicely into the next question. Do you feel your triumphs and life lessons have made you a better leader?
I hope so. I hope that I am a stronger leader. I hope that I'm a better listener, and I hope that I'm better at working together with people and empowering others to also achieve common goals, because the challenges that we face in our city right now are large. But when I see big challenges, just as I have my whole life, I see even bigger opportunities. And so that's why I'm so excited about the opportunity to be mayor and to take Louisville in a new direction. Because I know that working with others and empowering others, we truly can make Louisville a safer city, a stronger city, a healthier city, a more vibrant city, a more energetic city. And so those are the things I'm excited about.
Great, and that kind of plays into the next question as well. What is it that you find exciting about being the next potential mayor of Louisville Metro? I mean, it's a daunting task, regardless of how much positivity you bring. There's a lot of things that are out of your control. Why?
Because there's so much opportunity, because just like you and me, Kirk, there are so many people in Louisville that love our city, that choose to call Louisville home, that just want it to be a better version of itself, a stronger and more authentic, a more inclusive version of itself. And so it's that opportunity that gets me excited to be mayor and to have the opportunity to make meaningful change. Right now, incremental change is not of interest to me. In fact, it's not an option. I want to work with others to make transformative change in Louisville, and I truly believe the people I've met across this city on the campaign trail, there are so many people that want to be a part of the solution, that are just itching to get more involved, whether it's serving in administration, serving on a board, or just being a part of a neighborhood watch, so that their block is safer tomorrow than it is today. And that's why I'm excited, because of the opportunity for meaningful change to move Louisville in a new direction.
What do you consider to be your biggest risk, and did it pay off?
Oh, I would say running for mayor is my biggest risk,
Yeah.
without a doubt. So I'll tell you if it paid off.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know the answer to that question yet, but no, I left my job as CEO of 21C Museum Hotels to knowing that I was going to run for mayor. And so it has been a personal and a professional risk, but one that I'm very glad I've taken so far, and I hope to have the opportunity to be the next mayor.
You know, I'm just going to kind of throw this question in there. What have you learned most from running for mayor so far? I mean, maybe personal or professional or politically. I mean, what's kind of been a theme, or is there one?
Well, a few things for sure. Listening is a big one. I think it is very important, particularly in a city like Louisville, that is so large geographically, that is so diverse with the people that live throughout our entire city, that has so many challenges yet so many opportunities, is to listen to others. Is people who are living throughout our city, who are working in our city, who are involved in our city, can identify the challenges, have great ideas on the solutions. And so the answers are all there in front of us. Sure. We just have to have the sense of urgency and the energy and the willingness to take action to get things done. One of the things I've clearly learned by running for mayor is we do not need any more studies. We have plenty of studies throughout our city.
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly. We need to take action. And so that's what I'm excited about, is working together with people who I've met throughout the campaign and new people who I continue to make Louisville a safer city.
What's the best piece of advice ever given to you, Craig, and would you utilize it as your tenure as the next Louisville Metro Mayor?
Well, we've talked a lot about listening. I think that's critically important advice. I also think it's important to follow your passions, that people should follow their heart, follow their passion, and get involved professionally or personally with something that they're passionate about. And not everyone has the opportunity to follow their passion professionally to earn a living. But hopefully there's time and people have in their life to do something that gives them personal satisfaction and that also helps make the world a better place. And I've gotten great reward over my life through some of my civic involvement and areas of service so far. And so that's why I just really think it's going to be a very rewarding experience if I'm fortunate enough to be the next mayor of Louisville.
You're the first politician I've ever asked this question
Okay.
to, so I'm curious your answer. Do you ever feel misunderstood?
Oh, sure. That's just part of the territory. Sure. And since I've been running for office, it's probably happened more. People judge you based on the little bit that they know about you without knowing you, but that goes with the territory.
Absolutely.
And so I believe it's my job to get to know as many people as possible so that I can get to know them better, understand them, and hopefully they'll understand what makes me tick, know who I really am, and will be excited about the opportunity to work with me towards common goals. Because I have found that across the city, even when I meet people who I have significant political differences with, there's still a lot that we agree on. Yeah. I haven't met one person in the city of Louisville that doesn't want our city to be safer.
Sure.
Now, some of us might disagree on how to get there, but by having a real conversation, I'm confident that we can find some common strategies that we can agree on, and we can work on those together.
Now, if you could have written a letter to the younger Craig Greenberg, a note to self, what might you have told him, the 10-year-old Craig?
I would probably say go for it and take the risks in life, because I have found that too often in life people don't go for it. They don't take the risk, and they don't always work. I have had failures throughout my professional career, but I've learned from each one of those experiences, and I think that's made me a better person. It's made me a stronger leader, and it's put me in a position to do the next thing in my personal or professional life. And so I would just say go for it.
I like that. Can you define success or leadership in one word in the great English lexicon, as I like to say? Give me more than one. It could be a phrase if you need it.
Oh, defining, it's so personal to everyone. We all, and I think that's important, is that we all define success differently. And so I'm not sure there's any one definition of it. I just think for each person, you sort of know it when you've accomplished it, but I think a lot of people are also like me, that even as you're making progress towards goals, there's always more to do. Yeah. And so I'm often not satisfied. I want to keep going. I want to achieve the next thing. And that's one of the things about being mayor, is that I know it's a big job with a lot of challenges, but I want to work with others to try to accomplish as many of those as possible with a real sense of urgency.
And what I've learned is usually when you complete one goal, you create four more.
Absolutely.
It's like Pandora's box. It just is always going left and right. You've kind of talked about this, but let's just say hypothetically you become Louisville Metro Mayor and you could only change one thing in Louisville, whether you get 1 term, 2 terms, whatever the case might be. What would that one thing be to change?
That one's easy. End the senseless gun violence. Okay. If we could, in our ideal scenario, have no one shot during my term, no one murdered, no one injured, no one threatened by a gun, that would be an amazing city. And while we might never get to that goal, that should always be our goal, because one person being killed by a gun is too many. And so I will do everything I can in my power, in my being, with every ounce of energy that I have, 24/7, to make Louisville a safer city.
I'm going to ask you kind of a holistic question, just as an American, not just a Louisvillian. Why is it that it seems like some individuals, the only way they know how to communicate disagreements is through a gun? Why is that? What are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of anger in our country today, and I think a lot of people have had it. They're frustrated. The system hasn't worked for them. They have not had the opportunities that you or I might have had in our life.
That's fair.
And I think it's my job as mayor also to understand that frustration and to some of the solutions to ending gun violence. There are many solutions that don't involve law enforcement. We need 300 more police officers so that they can focus on community policing to prevent crime from happening before it happens. We need to have the best trained, the most trusted, the most transparent police department in America. But we cannot achieve the safest city in this country solely through policing. We need other solutions as well. We need to invest in more mental health resources to get people the help they need before they commit a crime and help them be more successful in life, broadly defined. We need to invest in the root causes of poverty. We need to implement programs like community violence intervention programs that have been so successful in other cities. We need more after-school programs for kids and reopen community centers, build more, so that they have many more pathways to success in life and don't turn to a life of crime. And so we need to provide opportunity for people who are so frustrated or angry that they turn to a gun as a solution for frustration in life.
If elected mayor, how would you answer the question, what does a Craig Greenberg mayoral administration stand for?
Well, I hope that a Craig Greenberg administration stands for accountability, transparency, safety, and action. We've talked a lot about safety already. All of the issues that we're focused on, I have a sense of urgency addressed. We cannot wait for tomorrow. To move Louisville in a new direction takes a new sense of urgency to address every issue in our city. I think, though, we have to do that in a very transparent way. Whether it's all levels of city government, whether it's the police or whether it's the mayor's office or every department should be transparent. I believe that transparent organizations are stronger organizations. And finally, accountability. I expect to hold the members of my administration accountable just as I expect the public to hold me as mayor accountable. And to me, those will be the hallmarks of my administration.
You know, running for Louisville Metro Mayor, a lot of times the comma KY after Louisville gets forgotten. There's a big relationship there with the state. How do you feel you could improve that?
Oh, I think there's a tremendous room for improvement. I'm a Democrat. I hope to be the next mayor of Louisville.
Sure.
In all likelihood, the Republicans are going to control the state legislature for the foreseeable future. We're going to have to work together. Sure. So there might be many issues that we disagree on. We need to work together to find, but there are also a lot of things that we agree on. I think the leadership of the state legislature right now and many people from out in the state agree that Louisville is the economic engine of our state, that it needs to continue to be strong and grow and be vibrant and create hundreds of new paying career path jobs of the future to attract new business here in Louisville. Those are things that we can all agree on and we can all work on to achieve that common goal together. So we don't have to agree on everything, but there's still ways to work together. And I think that goes between the city government and the state government. I also think it is the same should be said between the mayor and the Metro Council. They should be working together to achieve the common goals of our city.
You know, now, unfortunately, if you're not elected the next Louisville Metro Mayor, how might you utilize your time, civically to help make Louisville a better community?
Well, I haven't thought much about that, and I hope it doesn't happen.
Sure.
But I would say if that does happen, I will continue to focus on creating good-paying jobs in Louisville, continuing to invest in our city. I have spent the last 20 years of my life in various capacities investing in urban neighborhoods in Louisville and other cities, but particularly Louisville's where my passion has always been, and creating jobs in neighborhoods that have been overlooked. And I will continue to do that, hopefully as mayor, but if not, through the private sector as well.
And on the flip side of that, you do get elected the next Louisville Metro Mayor, 1 or 2 terms. How do you see yourself at the end of that administration?
Oh, that's a great question. I hope to look back and see a much safer city, a much cleaner city. That's one thing we haven't talked about much yet is we really need to have that same sense of urgency and action-oriented approach to just cleaning up our city, is getting the graffiti off the buildings, fixing the broken street lights. When there are abandoned cars on the road, is getting them off the road in a couple days as opposed to a couple of months. Cleaning up the streets. There's so much that we can and must do. And so a safer city, a cleaner city. I would love to have more neighborhoods, whether it's downtown, whether it's in the West End, whether it's in the South End, whether it's in the southeastern part of the city. Communities that have not gotten the investment from the city since merger or even longer, I would love them to start feeling more of a part of our city because there's been investment in services and infrastructure in every part of the city. And finally, one thing that I'm very passionate about is universal pre-K.
Okay.
As mayor, I want to make it a reality for every 3- and 4-year-old child in Louisville that they have an opportunity to get off to a right start in life with pre-K education starting at age 3. And I think we can make that a reality.
That's bold.
Well, right now, Louisville's on the map for some of the wrong reasons. And I want to go around the country to some of the largest foundations in the country, foundations that have hundreds of billions of dollars of assets, and ask them to invest in Louisville to put us on the map for the right reason, and do that by making universal pre-K a reality for all 3- and 4-year-olds. So I hope to look back on my time as mayor as having created that program for all 3- and 4-year-olds. And finally, housing. There are far too many people in our city, 30,000 people in our units of affordable housing short in this city. People that can't afford a home, a safe, quality home, which is the foundation for our life. And so focusing on an investment in affordable housing is going to be a big focus of mine to address the homeless crisis that our city is facing, but also those who are not homeless, but that are still struggling to afford their home. I want there to be much more affordable housing throughout the entire city of Louisville.
And this next question is a little more nuanced, but it kind of plays on the one we've already asked. If the administration of Craig Greenberg, mayoral administration, could be remembered for one thing, what would you like that to be?
I would say safety. I want people, when they're going to school, when they're going to and from their job, when they're walking their dog, when they're sitting on their front porch with their family, when they're walking to a neighbor's house. I want people to feel safe and be safe in every aspect of their life. And that will be my number one focus as mayor of Louisville.
I appreciate your honesty on that. Now, this next question is all yours. You get to look into the camera. It's kind of like a closing argument, as they say, and I know you have a background as an attorney, so you'll know what that means, and those attorneys out there watching this will know what that means. But you kind of can just speak to the audience and give your final thoughts why you should be the next Louisville Metro mayor.
Sure. Thank you, Kirt. Let's work together to move Louisville in a new direction. There are a lot of challenges across our city right now, but I am confident that by working together, we can address these challenges to make Louisville a safer city, to improve public safety and end senseless gun violence, to create more affordable housing across our entire city, to make Louisville a cleaner city, and to make universal pre-K a reality so that all 3- and 4-year-old children have an opportunity to succeed and get their educational career started off right at a very early age. These are all things that we can do if we can work together. So I would love to ask for your support to earn your vote on November 8th when you go to the polls to vote for the next mayor of Louisville. And together, let's work with a sense of urgency to take Louisville in a new direction and make Louisville a safer city, a stronger city, a healthier city, a more inclusive city, and a more vibrant city. Together, I know we can do it.
Well, thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Kirk. Thanks so much for having me on again, and hope it's not 16 years before we sit down together again.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Well, thank you for joining us today on Moxie Talk with Kirt Jacobs, and I'm going to remind everyone to please vote on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022.